Hey everybody, my name is Jay, and this is I Have a Samurai, and today we are going to be talking about the winners finals match of Blue Boy versus Utoto at
BlueGod
EVO
cross
Japan.
country.
Oh, that's true. I know him as Blue Boy, but he has certainly evolved into a god among men. As you can probably already tell, Blue God is going to be with me, and we are going to be talking about the winners finals match that he had at EVO Japan. Blue, thanks for very much for coming on to do
Of
the video with me.
course. Thanks so much for having me.
So, before we get into the match, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the set that you had with Utoto at American Evo.
Sure.
I don't
What you want to
know.
ask?
Yeah, it's. I haven't seen that match since it first happened, but correct me if I'm
Hmm.
wrong, it definitely felt like there was. You definitely seemed a bit lost in the matchup.
Of course.
Yeah.
I didn't understand two things. I didn't understand his character, and I didn't really understand like his approach to the game.
Right. Yeah, both
Yeah,
are incredibly unusual. I felt that
different. Yeah,
your idea was to say to yourself, well, Aswell's really good. Aswell is better than Valdo, so I'm going to see if I can create a situation where I just overwhelm him with Aswell stuff before he gets the opportunity to do Valdo stuff, and it just simply didn't work.
that's typically what I do when I don't know a matchup. I'm
Sure.
like, all right, I don't know what the heck is going on. I'm gonna play extremely offensive and like not give him a chance to do Voldo things, right?
Yeah.
So it worked pretty well in the first set. Um, it was 3-1.
Hmm.
Then it worked really well also the first game of the second set, right? I got 1-0. I got 1-0 lead on him, and then he 3-0'd me after that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
A little bit overwhelming in that sense.
yeah, yeah.
So was Utoto slash Valdo something that you had specifically practiced for Evo Japan?
More so than Valdo, I watched a lot of tape of Hitoto,
Okay. Much
and
more about the player than the character.
much more, yeah, cause like I can't really get experience against the character in the
Sure.
US. I mean,
Yeah.
I can lab like basic stuff, like basic Mantis stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to step duck here. Hey, IGI here. Oh shit, this is a force block. Maybe I should soul charge here, right? So I
Hmm.
love that kind of stuff, but more so than that, I kind of watched tape for him. I'm like, all right, he plays really safe. Um, when he's at neutral frames and like let's say I'm in axe or something
Right.
or in shield, he'll always sidestep block. Because if you think about it, let's say it's a neutral situation, right? I'm
Okay.
probably going to use a 6B, right?
Yeah.
So when I first fought him at Evo, I'm like, oh, this is a -2 situation or something. I think he's going to 2A. I'm going to 6B. But he would keep sidestepping, and then he would react to me 6Bing, and he would launch me, right?
Right.
So I came to understand that him as a player, he doesn't like to take risks, right? He'll just be like, "Oh, hey, sidestepping here, super safe. I'm gonna do it," and like wait for my opponent to do something that
And it,
might give me
honestly, yeah,
damage.
it
Yeah,
certainly makes a lot of sense against Aswell because Aswell is definitely the kind of character where you can get a lot of mileage, in my experience, by letting him hang himself. He's
yeah,
a character that can be played and is predominantly played incredibly risky. His most powerful stuff is incredibly risky. So as long as
hmm,
you kind of stay the course and minimize risk as much as possible, it is possible to kind of clamp
hmm,
down on Aswell, especially now in season two, where Sword AB is significantly less powerful than it once was.
hmm.
It's possible to just clamp down on him to the point where, well, he's going to hit me sometimes, but as long as I punish the stuff that he's going to do appropriately, I'll win out.
Exactly. And the thing about Aswell that's also different from other characters is that like when you're playing defense against him, there's only so many moves you have to worry about, right? You can be like, hey, he's gonna use, one of these 5, 6 axe moves.
Yeah.
I'm going to like, do this because this beats every single option. So if you notice the second time I played against him, I used a lot more jump A, right?
It
He
was something
really
that I was going to,
likes,
yeah, it was something I was going to talk
yeah.
about during the set too.
Mhm.
Just the idea of it's something that I'm seeing you use a lot in season two, and I'm not really seeing a lot of other Azul players using that move. And I don't know, it just seems very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's a very good move. And the thing about axe stance is like, let's say, like I said in neutral, like it really struggles against step duck.
Mm-hmm.
And like like people will either step duck against me or 2A, right? And
Right.
you know what beats both options and is a safe mid horizontal jump A. So it's like, I mean, if I get counter hit out of it too, I'm in the air, so you probably don't get a combo. So it's like,
Why do you think that other Aswell players? Am I just oblivious? Or do other Aswell players actually use that move? I just feel like they don't.
they don't nearly as much. So they use it when they're weaponless. I use it when like uh, in neutral when I'm in like any stance. It doesn't necessarily have to be an axe. I use it in shield and sword too.
Yeah, it seems really good. I don't know. It just
It's
confuses me
super
that I
good.
don't
I
see other
mean,
people who
it's a
have it.
great
Yeah,
move.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. So you specifically were dealing with Utoto rather than Valdo, and you're noticing that he's going to be playing super safe. So how do you counteract that kind of thing?
Um. So what I was gonna do is I was gonna play. My game plan going into it was I was gonna play, pretty safe, and then when given an opportunity to go ham, I would go ham. So I started off my game plan with like playing defensive, and then like let's say I would get a knockdown or something, I would just rush him down. Like
Uh
I'd be
huh.
like, all right, you're gonna have to guess here. Um, Nothing you can do about it. Good luck. Like
Yeah.
that was my game plan. Just like calm down in neutral, so I don't get launched by like 4K or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Right.
And just yeah, set play him to death.
It's kind of interesting because one of the things that I always talk about Valdo, which has always been the case, at least as far as I've been playing the game, 4, 5, and 6, it is very difficult to produce Oki pressure on Voldo's wake up due to his hurt box becoming so
Yes.
incredibly small and awkward when he
Specifically his
goes away.
back roll.
Yeah,
And then when he back rolls, and he's in blind stance, he has an I-12C, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
you're getting whip punished if he rolls anything, right? And it's easy for him to roll stuff, so it's very scary.
Not to mention, due to the fact that he has such a dangerous punish for like a whiff punish if you fall for like typical Oki setups for Voldo, it provides the Voldo player significantly more opportunities to wake up immediately and just mash.
Yep.
Because you just simply do not have the same Oki setups that you have on any other character. But that being said, wouldn't Aswell's, I assume it's 6-6B, the all the way run up axe, would that take care of Voldo's like back rolling?
So yeah, so Axe Oki is Oki. Like you pretty much have to deal with it no matter what character you're playing. Like Voldo doesn't have a get out of jail free card
So
for it.
that's pretty nifty, yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying using shield against him because he can roll full
Yeah.
crouch 1-8.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when it comes to Axe, it's the same. Like what every other character has to deal with, Voldo also has to deal with. Uh,
So that's not bad.
Yeah.
So, the last thing that I'll talk about before we finally get into the match is it looks like we have the 100% ring out stage. My guess is you're not necessarily all that excited by having this stage at the beginning.
So at the regular Evo, when I got this stage, I was like, this is really scary. I don't know when he can ring me out. I
Right.
can't really plan around it, right? But, I did some Volta labbing and like I kind of figured out the ranges which he can ring me out and the things he can do to ring me out. Like for example, like let's say I knock him down and his back is to the edge, right?
Right.
His wall rising B is like I-22 or something, I-24. It's basically a punish to grabs or axe low, right?
Yeah.
So like I didn't understand that at Evo. So, I ran up and I axe slowed him because I was like, this guy's not gonna duck. It's like if he ducks, he loses the round.
Yeah.
Um but at EVO Japan I understood I'm like if he ducks and he guesses right, he also wins the round, right? So it's like equally as risky for me. So I was like,
Sure.
all right,
Not to
I'm
mention
just gonna
that's
run
safe,
away.
right?
Yeah, it's safe. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm out of here, see you nerd.
So you just kind of just let him. Well,
Yeah,
also at
so
the same
I
point, you don't have
definitely like
the
this
wall
stage.
stuff,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. Unfortunately I don't, but like Voldo's 4K. So something that I really struggled with Evo that I also didn't. Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Something that I struggled with at regular Evo that I also didn't understand was that Voldo's 4K on that patch tracked as well sidestep. I could not
Aha.
sidestep it like almost at all. Like I'm gonna
Right.
say like 80-90% of the time it caught my sidestep.
Yeah.
This patch, it's a lot more linear, right? So I actually was totally fine with this stage because like Valdo's 4K is good against sword stance, right?
Hmm.
It's a tech crouch, it's safe. I can't, use AB to punish it.
Right.
Beats a lot of my moves. And if I counter hit him out of it with my mid, which is 2BB, the 2BB combo doesn't work on back turn opponents. And Volta goes in back turn
Uh,
when he uses 4K, right? So, it's a super good move against it, but it is linear. So if I step it on this stage and like you're remotely close to the ring edge, you're dead, right? To 2B lethal hit combo
sure.
breaks
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
far. So yeah, I wasn't really scared.
That's very
I
interesting.
like the
So
stage.
many, very unique interactions between these two characters.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of strengths and weaknesses that both can deal with, depending on like the complications with the stance versus Baldo stances and back turn and decreased hurt boxes and stuff. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get into the match, and let's see how this kind of thing goes. So I noticed that you're starting out in Shield. It's not normally something that I see you use very often, unless I'm misremembering.
I use shield. Um, Obviously not as much as Sword or Axe, but
Yeah.
I wanted to see how he reacted to it. He reacted pretty well, so I was like, all right. So you notice there. Pause. Go back.
Somewhere around
Uh,
here.
so that move that's neutral on block when I'm in Axe stance. Hang on. Well, this move. So pause right here. So in regular Evo, I'd be like, okay, this move is like -2 or neutral. He's probably gonna check me with a quick poke. I'm gonna 6B, right?
Yeah.
At this Evo, I understood. I'm like, it's so risky to do 6B here, and like even if it hits, I'm not gonna get that much reward. It's much better to just block here. As you can see, I just blocked. I'm like, all right, I understand Waldo better now. Like there's no reason I should swing this situation, right? So
So it definitely
just
seems like there's a significantly larger amount of situations where you realize that either from Valdo or Yutoto specifically, Axe 6B is just simply not as powerful of a tool
yeah.
as it would be in typical situations. Because he's
And
looking for it so much, it's not going to be all that good.
yes, and the thing about Valdo is like he has a pretty good sidestep, and his launcher is I-16. Like usually when you step 6B, you're not gonna punish with something like a 3B or something, right?
Yeah.
But Valdo can,
Yeah, especially if
because
he's
his
looking for it,
launcher's
yeah.
I-16, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's like I'm just chilling. Like,
Yeah, it's very it kind of reminds me of how I handle Amy 22B, where I use Amy 22B significantly less than most other Amy players,
hmm
and it's not because I think the move is bad for obvious reasons. It's an incredibly powerful move, and it's one of the main moves that you want to always pull off. But because it's the move that you always want to pull off, that's what everybody is looking for. And so if they're looking for it, then it's not really something that you're going to be able to get against a really good player. So you kind of have to lean on the other side so heavily to the point where they're not worried about 2-2B anymore. It takes a lot of work, but it's something that you kind of have to do.
exactly. So I get him there with a 6B. Notice how I delayed it.
Yeah.
It worked pretty well. He gets me with a good GI. I duck that.
Ooh, hell of a challenge.
So step duck. See,
Yeah,
no,
that
like
was
I
that, that
would
was
have just
definitely
stood there.
something I saw a lot in the set. Is there
Yeah.
not really anything that Valdo has that's going to beat the step duck in that situation?
Depends on the transition. So
Sure.
that transition you can't step duck, right?
Hmm.
And like at Evo, like when I saw that shit, like I would just smash, right? I
Right.
would
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
counter
Yeah.
hit and I would get lethal hit. But this time I'm like, all right. So Beyblade. So the thing
Yeah,
about
this was
Voldo
something that I
too.
definitely wanted to talk about because this is something I
Yeah,
saw you really
hundred
kind of
percent.
jam down Yutoto's throat for the majority of the set. Is a lot of Beyblade into Soul Charge, Beyblade into just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. So it's like we start out pretty far on the stage.
Hmm.
And he backsteps a lot at the beginning of the round, right? He wants to like I don't know, whiff punish me. He's pretty good at whiff punishing single A and two A's. He'll get me with 666B lethal hit. So like the risk reward for like a player who's looking for that kind of stuff is like it's like I might get a weapon, but if you're looking for it, you're gonna destroy me, right?
Yeah.
So it's like why would I not just put myself in almighty mode and just take like a 2A punish? It's like what 10, 12 damage. Like I
Yeah,
don't
something
care.
like that.
I'm in almighty mode afterwards. You can't really pressure me that well. I have auto GIs, have a GI 4B. Your 2A doesn't leave you close to me. You don't have lows. He can't really even pressure me after the punish, and it's pretty much like a reset to neutral where I'm in almighty mode, and all I take is like 12 damage.
Yeah, you're really kind of turning the risk reward
Yeah,
on its head
yeah,
at that point. Not to mention, there's
yeah,
always the possibility that you actually hit with it.
exactly. He can't really contest me for it either.
I appreciate the fact that you immediately get out of dodge the second that you can see that he gets into back turn. Like, you take your damage and then get out of there. Just immediately
Yeah,
backdash, because there's no reason to try and challenge that kind
because
of
it's
thing.
like, yeah, exactly. If I swing a high, he's knocking me down. If I swing a mid, um, my mids don't really work well on back turn opponents, right? So it's like that 1A was because I thought he was gonna roll. I messed it up a little bit, but if you run forward properly, that 1A catches roll.
Oh, okay. It'll even catch Valdo's roll?
I don't know about Valdo, but
Yeah.
yeah,
There's that sword jump A that we
there's
were
the
talking about.
jump A.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So probably gonna do it again actually. So, GI lethal hit.
Yeah, you're able to get the post GI kind of stuff. So it definitely seems to be working out pretty well right here. I'm definitely seeing the 2-2B that you were talking about, the sword potential lethal hit. Going into Beyblade for all kinds of additional power ups, and sacking like the potential punish. Not to mention, you're getting a pretty good amount of guard damage as well. There's a sword jump A again.
Mhm.
So it's definitely just understanding
Oh,
the
so
situations a lot
I
better.
want you to pause there.
Yeah, sure.
So common frame trap after Voldo 4K is he 4Ks again.
Uh huh.
And like at EVO, I was kind of scared to push. But the thing about Aswell's A is that it's I10, and at -6, if he 4Ks again, he can't tech crouch my A.
Aha.
So I was like, oh yeah, like he actually has to commit and duck it, which is like scary.
Yeah.
Because I can like run up and to be him or something. So I was
Sure.
like, all right, I'm kind of free to swing AA here.
I don't think
He's not.
yeah, I don't think I knew that. I should definitely remember that because I have an I-10 as well, and so
Yeah,
I think that's
so
pretty
I'm
important.
like, yeah. I'm like, all right, you can't get out of this very easily.
Yeah, force him to actually take some of the risks that Utoto is very adverse to.
I think he actually used jump A there, not another 4K, which is also another tech crouch that AA will beat.
I was actually quite surprised that you ended up challenging on this wake up with the shield uppercut, because I just assumed that the ring out situation here would have been relatively scary, but I don't know the Baldo ring out ranges possibly as well as you do.
Well, in my mind, I was thinking if this hits, he's dead because I didn't expect him to be in the air. But like if I landed full crouch 1B, so that was a total misinput. That was
Oh,
soul
is that
attack.
right?
Yeah, but
I just assumed that
I
you were
guess it
going.
made me look like a god
Yeah,
because it is a force block. The only way out of that is if you GI it and it gives nothing on GI. So maybe
sure.
that's something I should implement. Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
just
that
assumed that
was
you were
definitely
going
a
for
soul
something.
attack.
That's
I was
really
gonna
funny.
soul attack and I was gonna RI his soul charge.
Okay.
That's what was going through my mind.
That's
Yeah,
really
but
funny. Yeah, we all just assumed that you were taking the frame advantage to get the inevitable guard break.
I don't know. I've never done that setup in my life.
So Utoto ends up switching the stage to.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess you really can't call 2B's stage like a neutral stage due to the fact that it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's 1P
imbalanced.
advantage.
Yeah, so
Yeah. So
I don't.
another
I
good
don't.
stage for me.
Yeah, I don't really understand the point of this stage. I think it's really weird. Ooh, this is definitely something that I want to talk about, where you end up getting hit by that low, and then you immediately go into an axe low. And this is typically a situation where Voldo is in a pretty solid situation because he's got his like
Yep.
I-10 AA from back turned, and but you ended up like. How many different options does Axlo beat in that situation?
It pretty much beats nothing except him doing nothing, which is
Sure.
kind of what I figured he'd do. So I don't know. I just like in my head, I didn't really think too much about it. I was just like my instincts were really telling me that this was gonna hit, so I did it.
I mean, at the same time, you're up a game. You want to continue. You want to keep the momentum. At least in my opinion, I don't know if you feel this way, but I find that when I am ahead and I have round/games to sack, I will try to end the match quicker in the sense of taking slightly bigger risks to overwhelm my opponent and potentially add to their frustration factor. And so I end up taking slightly more aggressive tactics to overwhelm them before they can adapt.
Yep. That's something I do as well.
Aswell's a little bit quicker at it than Amy is.
Yeah.
So we got more
So,
Beyblade stuff.
mhm.
So you don't end up step ducking in that situation. I guess that's a significantly harder
Yeah.
stance transition to
So
deal with.
I'm not sure if it's an asshole only thing because his sidestep is bad, but every time I tried to step duck that, it didn't work.
Okay.
There's a 6B. I really thought he was gonna either mash or duck for the axe low, but it was
Yeah,
a
I was kind
safe
of
way to
surprised from the
protect
6B,
both. Yeah,
considering it was a very
it was
similar
really good.
situation to the situation before. So definitely significantly more blocking. You're getting
So look at this.
yeah.
So he even paused the game because he was frustrated. I'm like, I don't know. In Japan, like they think you're gonna block, right? And they're like, oh, it's my turn. I'm gonna greed and not go for a quick poke,
Right.
go for like guard damage or something or set play. But -8. Like we're from the U.S. Like we
Yeah.
axe low at -8. Like we don't care.
Well, not to mention, I honestly would argue that it's kind of a mistake from Utoto in the same sense of, in my opinion, people are significantly more mashy when they're potentially dealing with a guard break situation. I think it's a lot easier to spot aggressive play because they don't want to block, right? Because you were going to potentially sack the first round simply because he had done so much guard damage to you. So I don't know. I feel like that should have been at least a little bit easier to spot, in my humblest of opinions.
I think so as well.
Yeah,
I just don't think he was used to,
that kind of style. Yeah,
yeah.
nice clash.
So yeah, I confirmed it. Oh, over here I thought he was gonna duck, so he had a nice punish on that. He gets me that. I don't react to that move, then I catch his back.
Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, you definitely significantly less mashy dealing with Valdo back turn, and you had enough life in that situation to just okay, he's just gonna do what he's gonna do, and then eventually the pressure will dissipate, and then I can just go back to what
Again,
I was doing.
go back to the jump A. So he gets me that jump A,
Uh huh.
and like it's like -2 or something on
Yeah,
block,
it's something great.
-4.
Yeah.
It's like I can just chill. Like he's not gonna low me afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, I don't need to contest him, which is something I did a lot at regular Evo. But now when Valdo puts me in a set play,
You just
I
kind of
just chill.
let it happen.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like you're gonna 2A me, you're gonna do like some, you're not gonna do a lower grab. It's like, why am I scared?
So there's no real mix of potential in that situation. It's just more
like,
pressure based, and
yeah,
that's
so
fine.
yeah, so Valdo's a character that's like, in my opinion, really hard to contain. Like if you try to contain this character, you will lose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't need to. I don't need to play to your strength. Like, I'm just gonna chill. Like, I have axe low. Like, you keep mashing. Like, you put yourself at like -8, -10 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're gonna be really scared of me.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot more sense, and you're kind of limiting Valdo's ability to really even get any kind of damage, because if he's doing this pressure-based kind of stuff, what is he really going to get? He's not getting his whiff punishes. He's not really getting any sort of mix-up, so where is the damage going to be coming from, you know? The reason why I ended up pausing here is because earlier in this set we were talking about the Axlo that you ended up doing after you got hit by that Valdo 2-hit low, and this time around you end up doing like a turnaround like sword B, and again it's an aggressive idea, but because the aggressive idea worked the first time around, it makes sense to do it again, and I like the fact that like. In my head, if I were you in that situation, I would think to myself, okay, well, I was aggressive again here, and it was a little bit cheesy, but at the same time, I got punished with a 2A. So,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
So the thing about that back turn B is I think 2A is the only thing he can do that beats it. It's a clash setup for a lot of other things.
Okay.
And if he does a jump attack, which is a common Valdo setup,
Sure.
because a lot of people like to do back turn 2A,
Mm-hmm.
my back turn single B combos into CE.
Aha.
So like I can get, yeah, I can. So that's something I lab too. It's like it's a really good option there, and pretty much the only thing he can do to interrupt me is 2A. But like it beats a lot of other things,
Yeah.
and if he happens to do that jump attack, yeah, I get a lot of damage.
And very similar
So
to
I
the
thought that
Beyblade
was his
situation. You
yeah,
don't have to worry
yeah,
about
exactly.
a lot of damage, you know? So that's where it looks like the... Well, it doesn't really look like it was...
Lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still not that scary because it's not the counter hit stun of that move.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there a specific stance that you much more prefer than the other ones against Valdo specifically, or does it depend on the spacing and the situation that Valdo's in?
I like sword the most versus him.
Okay.
Yeah. But like Utoda's a player, Axe is pretty good against him too.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw the catch with the side stuff that you were talking about before.
Yeah. So that
Slight
move
frame
is
disadvantage, and then yeah, it caught you.
yeah. So that's something. It's probably like Asshole's sidestep being bad or something, because that move's normally linear.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I sidestep. So he should have died there. B6 combos into CE. Would have got the extra back turn damage. So that was a big mistake for me, because I have CE, right? I can do B4 lethal hit into CE. I actually could have killed him there.
Oh,
But,
I see. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So,
Plus, you're gonna deal with like guard damage, so you decide to immediately press your advantage with a better soul charge.
yeah.
This is definitely something that I believe even the commentators were talking about during the set, is that Yutoto seems to be at this point
So
notorious
a
for
lot
not
of
using his meter.
people, yeah. So a lot of people like to use Soul Charge as like a comeback mechanic. I like to use Soul Charge to snowball rather than the comeback. I
Sure.
don't like yeah. So I knew he was gonna duck here.
Well,
So
plus, yeah, you have
should
plenty of
reset.
life. You can
Yeah,
do whatever you want.
yeah. It's like
But
if he blocks into BB punishes me, it's like what? I lost 30 HP.
yeah,
Doesn't
yeah. The
matter.
only thing at that point, honestly, you would much rather take the hit than potentially give him the guard crush anyway.
Yeah, it's like
But
if I axe low there, like I'm getting knocked down, losing my weapon. He has, the comeback. It's like
mhm.
it just doesn't make sense to go low there.
Yeah, I definitely noticed, and it was something that I remember talking about when I was restreaming it, is that it seems like the Japanese players are not really. I don't know, maybe there was something going on, but I just didn't really see a lot of strong meter management from any of them, honestly. Josh and I felt kind of the same way, where it just really seems like you're losing a lot of valuable. Anytime that you have two bars, I always feel like it's imperative to try and find a position to use it, simply because then you have the opportunity to build it
Build more
again.
later,
Yeah,
later on, exactly.
yeah, and I guess I understand, like, Yutoto might feel that Voldo's Soul Charge is not really all that good, so he would rather save it to continue the threat of the back turn CE to, like, keep you honest and everything. But I don't know.
Sometimes, like especially in the last round, when you have 2 bars a meter and I'm at plus frames in your face, sometimes it's worth it just to soul charge to get me off of you. Sometimes that's it. Like you're spending
Yeah,
1 bar,
yeah.
and like let's say you 100% know, like I'm not gonna like you're not gonna hit me at all with a soul charge. It doesn't matter. I still think it's worth it to soul charge just to get out of like bad situations. But they don't even do that. Like
Especially against
uh,
Aswell. Like, Aswell's Soul Charge is one of the most terrifying things in the game, in my opinion. And so, if what I do with my Soul Charge is nullify your Soul Charge, I consider that a win. Because I
yeah.
don't necessarily find my Soul Charge to be all that powerful.
Like let's say I'm Beyblading in your face and you knock me down with soul charge. It's like it's really good, right? Even if you don't get any damage, you're denying me a little bit of my soul charge, which is something the Japanese don't really do.
Yeah, very interesting.
So he was looking for the 6B there.
Yeah, you had
That's
definitely
why
been
I
pressuring a
slowed
lot
him.
more with
Yeah.
6B beforehand. I'm really surprised I didn't see that coming. I mean, like, come
No,
on. That's
yeah.
look
So I
look at the
hate this
reward.
wall because look at
Sure.
this.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's supposed to be a ring out.
Yeah,
I hate 2B stage.
it's
This stage is
unfortunately
awful.
it's very
Yeah.
frustrating and at the same time not surprising at all, just due to
Yeah,
how stupid
exactly.
this stage can be. This is definitely one of the worst crafted stages in my opinion. I don't really understand it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he's
Yutoto definitely seems to be getting overwhelmed by. At this point, you've just snowballed to the point where the
I
pressure
can just
has
do
just
whatever
become
I want.
very difficult
Yeah.
for him to deal with. Yeah. So this is the first time. I honestly feel like this is the first time that we've actually seen Yutoto getting some sort of mileage out of aggressive momentum, and he ends up getting like the one whip punish that he was looking for. So that's honestly the first time that we've really seen Yutoto in his element in this set.
So that's usually his game plan, right?
Yeah.
He like tries to make you uncomfortable, mash out a button or something,
Yeah,
and then
peppers
whip
you until
punish you.
eventually
Yeah, exactly.
now we have the whiff punish. Not much different than how Amy tries to interact with her parries. Ooh, even more patience. After that block 3A, I'm actually quite surprised.
Hmm.
So you end up getting that step again to try and get out of the stance situation. He's not really dealing with Power of Truth all that well either.
Hmm.
Yeah, so after the 3A on block the first time around, then you end up doing
Yeah.
3A on block into more stuff, which makes sense because he's giving you the opportunity.
Yeah, not using meter. He's
Yeah,
playing his
exactly. And
offense.
yeah, he effectively lost a bar there.
He's not he's not using 4K at all to make me scared of contesting him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like he was
that's
using that a
something.
little bit in the first game, but I guess you just scared him out of it.
Yeah,
Ooh, interesting jump A.
that was good.
Yeah.
Shield has a lot of flows. Yeah, not a bad option to jump.
Yeah, I'm not, I don't know, maybe it's unfair for me to say, but I just find Utoto's choices for dealing with as well pressure are not necessarily the most prepared, if that makes any sense. It just
Yeah,
doesn't seem like
for
they
sure.
were really the appropriate reactions. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk about was this kind of the situation that you were talking about before when you had accidentally gotten that CE in the first game where you wanted to go for a soul attack to
Mm-hmm.
get the guard pressure and potentially like win the round that way.
Oh, so like were you asking me why I soul attack there, or?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just like it puts me in soul charge. It does chip damage and like in the back. So I was like, I have a knockdown. It's a horizontal too. Both his soul attacks are horizontal. So I'm like, he has to hold this. I'm Aswell. I'm in soul charge. I'm across the map. I have a massive life lead. Like this round's, it's over.
Yeah, and again,
Yeah,
he's not using
it
the
was a
meter
checkmate.
to try and nullify yours, so there doesn't really
Yeah.
seem to be any
Um,
kind of threat in that way.
thing about him, like most Japanese players, in my opinion, is like they're really good at defense. Like, don't get me wrong, they're
Uh huh.
very good at playing defensive, but it kind of like I feel like makes them predictable in a way. Like,
Sure.
I can pressure him. Like, if I'm at plus frames, like he's either gonna like do a 2A or like a sidestep or something. Like, he's not gonna like let's say CE me or something, right?
Uh
So
huh.
I'm like, he's not gonna do anything risky. Like, at most he's gonna do a 2A at GI or something. So like because I understand that they don't want to take risks, it's like it just like it gives me so much more options for my offense. Like I'm not scared to use like many that I'm normally scared to use in the US because like people over here, I'm like
You don't
like
know what's gonna happen.
all six BB like on block versus Shanghua and they'll just CE or something.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's so scary. It's like I'll
it.
play against like let's say for example you or something. You'll do 3A. I'm like, all right, he's -6 in my face, and like nope, you'll just 3A like 4 more times.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's a lot like scarier and have to use like a lot more moves on offense. But against him, I'm like, he's not really gonna do anything risky. Like he's not gonna Voldo CE me. He's not gonna reverse the ledge. So it's like I have I can do whatever I want.
It's something that I end up talking about over and over again, where I think that the biggest strength that a player can have is unpredictability, and the biggest weakness
Yeah,
that any player can have is predictability. It's the options that Utoto is choosing are not bad options. If you look at it on paper, they all make sense.
exactly.
But any and all options are bad options if the opponent knows they're happening. you know,
Yeah,
it's something that where players get into this mode where they only use what they consider to be the most optimal things. But really, if you're not administering any amount of unpredictability, then really all you've done is ensure that you lose slowly. You've minimized the risks, but you've guaranteed that you're going to be taking a little bit of damage in this situation over and over again. It's definitely something that people have to get a lot better with. It's one of the biggest things that anybody who's watching, it's the main takeaway that I want you to get from is that merely because an option is good does not mean it's appropriate, because it's important
yeah,
to put your
exactly.
opponent off keel at the very. The most important thing is to keep them guessing as to what you're going to do.
Hmm.
And you'll be surprised as to when your opponent is scared of you, what kind of options that opens up for you.
You
Things you
can
might
pull out.
necessarily
Yeah.
thought. Yeah. But that is the winners finals, and then you went on to become, as far as I know, the first American EVO champion, at least since I've been playing the game.
Since like I believe the last one was like it was either Mick or RTD in like 2004 or something for Soul
Yeah, it
Calibur
would have
2.
definitely
So
had to have been SE2.
it's yeah, it's been a while.
So congratulations again. I'm sure you've heard it from
Thank you.
quite
Appreciate
a
it.
lot of people, and I thank you for coming on to talk about it. I definitely,
Yeah, of course. Thank you for
yeah.
having me.
So yeah, the Valdo, it definitely seems like you're not just talking about like how to beat Valdo specifically, but talking about how to beat Yototo as well. Beating the hyper defensive kind of gameplay that you see at super high
It's
levels.
funny because the way we play in the U.S. and the way Japan plays, we can actually learn a lot from them, right? Like, they can learn a lot from us. Like, we're really good at being unpredictable here, right? Like,
Yeah,
you never know, like, what your opponent, like, what option they're gonna use, or like, what kind of like people call it dumb,
yeah,
thing. But like, I actually think it's pretty smart sometimes. Like it's like, hey, I'm doing this option that, you're never ever going to see coming. Like, sure, it might not make any sense on paper, but that's exactly why, I'm using it, because,
yeah.
it doesn't
The
make any
Yomi
sense.
makes
Like, you're not going to plan around with it,
yeah, the Yomi
Yeah.
level kind of creates a circle where the stuff that was good, quote unquote, when you were first starting out, becomes bad once you get to a certain level, and then becomes good again once you get to an even higher level, and it just kind
Yeah,
of
so
wraps
we're
around that
really
way.
good at that, but I feel like, our defense kind of lacks. Like in the US, like, we don't deal with strings, we don't do a lot of things. We might not always punish things.
Don't have the
But
same
in
option
Japan,
selects. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, exactly. We don't do option selects, but in Japan, they're really good at that kind of stuff. But they suffer a little bit from, I think, in my opinion, being too predictable.
what side of it would you put the European players on? People like Skill and Kiev, or any of like the French players. Do you find that they're more
Um,
random, more safe? Which way do they go?
they're more balanced. They're kind of like in the middle, in my opinion.
Uh huh.
Um, it's like Skill, like, especially Skill. He's such a good player because I think, he has the best of both. Like, his offense is really good; it flows really well.
Yeah.
But like his defense, like, especially when I see him lose to a character, like, who lose to a character, like, who is, like, let's say Tolem or like Maxi or like Amy or something, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And the next time I see him play against that character, he's perfectly, playing the matchup. I'm like, God damn, dude,
Yeah.
it's been like 2 weeks. How are you like beating all these odds? So it's just like, they're definitely more balanced. I think they have a little bit of
I don't
both.
know if I ever told you about it, but I remember before NEC, I saw
Yeah.
an online set between Skill and Sam's, and Sam's was
Mhm.
playing Amy, and I remember looking at, knowing that I would potentially have to play Skill at NEC, and I remember looking at, it, I was like, huh, uh, Skill isn't particularly good against Amy. He's not
Yeah.
doing this kind of stuff particularly well, and then I ended up playing him in a pretty extended casual set at NEC, and it was not close. He
He
destroyed me.
understood your character a lot better, right?
He
That's what
GI'd
he
all the
does.
opportunity, like all the places that he had an opportunity for. He backstepped out of any and all pieces of pressure. He challenged with AA whenever he could, and I was flummoxed. My offensive pressure was a mere pittance compared to his. Meanwhile, I was just falling apart to like season two Mitsurugi stuff. He's one of the most impressive players I think I may have ever seen.
Yeah,
Skill
he's
is
really,
just
really good.
incredible. But you know who else is incredible? It's gonna be BlueGod at
Hey,
EVO
that's
Japan.
me.
But how can I ask for a better transition? But thanks again to Blue for helping me out with this video, and thanks to everybody who is watching Eye of the Samurai. The next one up is probably going to be Boom, going to be commentating or providing analysis for the matches that he had with me at Xanadu in the losers finals, so we can kind of talk about Amy versus Yoshimitsu. Anybody who's
We'll look
interested,
forward
look
to that.
forward to that. And Blue, thanks again, and I'll see everybody next
Yeah, of
time.
course. Thank you so much for having me. Stay tuned, guys, for next time. Watch Boom versus Jay. I'm sure it'll be great, and you guys will learn a lot.
All right, thanks again, everybody. All right, thanks very much.